Hi Marylin, my name is Connie DeSousa, co-chef and co-owner of Charcut Roast House in Calgary, Alberta. I'm one of your biggest fans, and on a day like today, I'd normally be working out to your show, but instead I'd officially like to throw my name into the hat to try and become your next culinary expert on the Marylin Denis show. Alberta is known both internationally and nationally for having incredible beef. So I wanted to show you how to recreate one of our most famous dishes at Charcut, our prime rib. When we first decided to put prime rib on the menu, it had kind of lost its cool factor and it was really becoming old school in Calgary. So John and I decided to try and make it cool again by adding a few new twists to the prime rib. So I'm going to show you and your guests how to make this at home. All right, so the first step to making the prime rib and flavoring it is using really nice herbs. Today we're using thyme, and the easiest way to get the leaves off the thyme is to hold the top of the stem and run your fingers along the entire stem to pull off the leaves. And you don't necessarily have to use thyme. You can use rosemary or marjoram or really any hard herb. You want to try and avoid soft herbs like parsley and chervil because they'll just end up burning and almost disintegrating in the oven. So we're going to chop these up just a little bit finer to make them easier to distribute. And then we're going to start with the mustard. So I like to use Dijon mustard. You want to try and avoid any of the heavier like vinegar-based mustards. The ballpark mustard is probably when it tastes as great on this prime rib. Next, we're going to sprinkle on our pepper. Again, really making sure that you're getting it all over the prime rib, including the bottom. And then the salt. So salt is an ingredient that I think a lot of people are really afraid of, and you shouldn't be afraid of salt. You really need a good amount to bring out the natural flavors of the ingredients. And then last is the herbs. You can sprinkle those on all over the meat. This is going to create that really yummy crust that everyone loves about prime rib. All right, and then we'll stick the prime rib on a baking sheet. I like to use a rack, and that's going to prevent the meat from touching the bottom and burning. And then we're going to place the meat on the rack in a 450-degree oven. All right, so the first accompaniment that we're going to make is garlic. We're just using a whole garlic bulb. You're going to cut off the top of the garlic just to expose all of the cloves on the inside like that. And then you're going to take a piece of tin foil, place the garlic in the center, pour a little bit of olive oil on top, season it with a little bit of salt, and then wrap it up like a purse. And so the reason why we do all this is because when the garlic slowly roasts in the oven, it's going to tenderize it, make it become soft, and really bring out that natural sweetness of the garlic. So we're going to stick this in a 450-degree oven along with our prime rib, and it's going to roast for roughly about 30 minutes. The best way to tell when the garlic is finished is that you're going to start to smell the really yummy aromatics of the garlic, and your nose can tell you when it's done. So the next step is cooking the lemon. One of the reasons why we add lemon to this dish is to really impart a nice acidity to the meat. The meat is really rich and fatty, and the lemon's really going to cut the acidity of this. We're going to grill it, but if you don't have a grill at home, you can recreate this in a frying pan. So I've cut the ends off the lemon and then cut it in half and cut it one more time into quarters. And then we're going to sprinkle this with some olive oil and some salt. Again, the salt is really going to bring out the sweetness of the lemon. Then you want to roll it around, get it all nicely coated, and then place it on the grill. And if you don't have a grill at home, you can easily recreate this in a hot pan. All right, this is horseradish. And for those of you that have never seen fresh horseradish, this grows indigenous in Alberta. So we're going to take a vegetable peeler and peel the skin off of the horseradish just to expose the white flesh that's underneath. So now we're going to grate it. And you just want to grate it on the smallest side of your box grater until you get nice fine bits like this. And then you want to whip your cream. So we're using 35% heavy cream. And you're just going to whip this up until it starts to thicken or until you get what we call in the business soft peaks. And then you're going to take a spatula and just kind of move the cream to the bottom of the bowl. Then we're adding our sour cream, our Dijon mustard, our white wine vinegar, the horseradish, and I've got a little bit extra here, and some salt. So after the meat has been in the oven for about 30 minutes, you want to turn the oven down to 325 degrees and allow the meat to cook slowly for about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how you like your meat. So now I'm going to pull out the prime rib out of the oven. It's been in there for about an hour and a half, so it should be perfect medium rare. Just rest this in the corner of our board. So now that the meat's rested, we need to remove the bones before we slice into the meat, just to create those beautiful slices of prime rib. Beautiful. So you can see this meat has rested beautifully. We don't have a lot of juices flowing out of the meat onto our cutting board. So we're going to place the meat on the plate of our roasted garlic, our grilled lemon, our horseradish cream, and a little bit of extra salt just in case you want to flavor the meat with some more salt. And then just to add a little bit more color to the plate, we're going to drizzle some fresh arugula with some olive oil and place that right on top. And this is our signature prime rib at Charcut Roast House. So Marylin, I've got some exciting news. I am a first-time expected mom, and as a lot of your viewers are at home, I'm so passionate about teaching kids and young culinarians where food actually comes from. These kids and culinarians really need to know that their food and their meat doesn't always come nicely pretty packaged on plastic trays and wrapped in plastic at the supermarket. I really want to showcase the local farmers and producers that work so hard raising our meats and our vegetables for us. Having had 15 years in the industry, as you can see, my back to basics cooking style and large format feast preparations would really translate well at home for your viewers making a family meal for Sunday supper, or these can be easily translated into fancy meals that you could prepare for a large dinner party. Thank you so much, Marylin, for the opportunity to share my cooking know-how to become the next culinary expert on your show.